The White House says, okay, our CT stands for, I'm assuming, counterterrorism, prioritizes the neutralization of hemispheric threats. And so all of this is ISIS. And this is also, so the bottom part is what really matters, right? And so our nation has not been well served by its intelligence community. True. Which has been mired in old ways of looking at threats, or has been actively weaponized by its leadership as a political tool. Whether plotting against conservative Catholics attending traditional mass in Virginia, parents standing up for their children at school board meetings, members of Congress, or President Trump and his associates, this administration will continue to prohibit the intelligence community from being used politically against innocent Americans. As real threats were ignored or underplayed, Americans have witnessed the politically motivated killings of Christians and conservatives committed by violent left-wing extremists, including the assassination of Charlie Kirk, who espoused rather extreme transgender ideologies. So this is the part that that's getting everybody mad, okay? In addition to cartels and Islamist terrorist groups, our national counterterrorist activities will also prioritize the rapid identification and neutralization of violent secular political groups whose ideology is anti-American, radically pro-transgender, and anarchist. We will use the tools constitutionally available to us to map them at home, identify their membership, map their ties to international organizations like Antifa, and use law enforcement tools to cripple them operationally before they can maim and kill the innocent. We will do the same to the state sponsors, with the state sponsors of such groups and the governments undertaking lethal plots on U.S. soil or against Americans everywhere. Thank fucking God. Holy shit, I've been waiting on this for thank God, this is amazing. Finally, and in special strategic category, we will maintain and increase our national assets to combat and render safe the most dangerous terrorist threat in America. Non-state acquisition and the use of weapons of mass destruction, especially the terrorist use of nuclear and radiological devices. This mission, okay, so it's more terrorist stuff. Technological advances since then necessitate the re-examination of the threat and an update to our relevant counterterrorism policies. So they're finally going to stomp these people out. I hope that's what happened. Finally, we get to see the boot on these people. I don't believe this until I see it. That's the way that I feel about it. I want to see this happen. And the obsession with trans people needs to be studied. I mean, again, it's not a coincidence, I think, that these ideologies, it's not about necessarily being trans, but very clearly the trans community, I think, has a huge problem with the normalization of violent rhetoric as a response to not being identified in the way that they want to be. I think this is very obviously the case. And if you look at a lot of, trans discourse or anything else, just scroll down and you're going to have somebody that has a knife, a gun, or some other form of violence as an inducement for people to acknowledge their gender. This is the problem. And even if you think that they're not violent, you just look at the way that they're talking, and that's bad. That's bad. What is this? Let me see if I can show this. What is this? What's this? What is this? It's another knife. A sword. Look at this. That's problematic. It really is. That's a lot. Didn't a politician wear this? Yeah, the lieutenant governor for Minnesota did. Yeah, her. Right here. And so you have these people. This is the reason why. If you didn't want people to treat you like a terrorist group, then why are you enabling people to openly advocate for terrorism? If you didn't want to be treated this way, then you shouldn't have allowed your community to be infiltrated by violent people that want to push terrorism. It's so simple. It's so obvious. Obviously, every trans person doesn't support this. And I think that here's what this is my actual opinion. I think that there's a lot of trans people that just think they're a woman or think they're a man, and they just want to live as a woman and they want to live as a man. And this stuff, I think, freaks them out too. I bet they don't like this either, but they don't want to speak out against it because then now you're alienated by everybody. I think there's a lot of people that feel that way that are trans, but they don't want to speak out against it. It's weakness by affirmation of default. Yeah, so anyway, I'm very happy the government is doing this. I'm tremendously happy. I'm massively happy about this. And the only thing I'll be happier about it then, more than, is that if they actually start doing it, right? I mean, like, it's great that they put out a post about this and it's got everybody talking about it, but like, where are the actions being taken, right? Where are this? I can tell you that's true. Someone close to me is trans, not a wackadoodle. Yeah, I don't think anybody, most people, this is what I think, most people don't really care. But the moment that you start trying to introduce trans ideology to prepubescent children, the moment that you start trying to invade women's private spaces that are segregated by sex and not gender because of sexual organs, that's the point where you have stepped beyond, living inside of your bubble of freedom, and you are now in society. And the moment that you decide that you want to impact other people, the moment that you want to decide that you want to be able to do something that could affect other people, you now have to have a logical, rational reason for it, rather than just simply repeating dogma or telling people how you feel. There has to be a reason for it that transcends your own, your own self-referential feelings. That's it. And so that's what I would say. If it actually works, will Hassan be arrested? I highly doubt Hassan's not going to get arrested, okay? Like, that's not going to happen. I mean, we're talking about, and also, this is what I find to be kind of interesting, right? Is that George Santos, J.D. Vance, for those, I guess the entire GOP is getting neutralized. And I think this is what these people like to do, is that they like to intentionally misunderstand things. And I think this is another great example of intentionally misunderstanding things. They're not going after trans people categorically. They're going after people that are violent. So if you look at it right here, violent, that's the important word of violent, not secular political groups, violent secular political groups. So these people are trying to act like victims whenever they're being held accountable for being violent. Thank God. Thank God we're rounding these freaks up and hopefully putting them in jail. Really. They like the violent ones too? They do. They like being violent. That's what they do. You go look at the ICE protests, look at anything else. This is what they do. So, and people inciting violent speech too, I hope? Yeah, I guess so. And Popbase is one of the biggest libtard accounts on Twitter. Well, I have no idea what it is, but anyway, I'll look at some of the posts about this because there have been a lot of people talking about it. This is literally dictatorship, and it's terrifying to see them get away with this. So you have people that are saying that this is a dictatorship and everything else. No, making a violent political group is a huge problem. It's actually a really big problem, and I don't want to deal with it. I don't think most people want to deal with it, actually. They only focus on one word. Why do they only focus on one word? The reason why they focus on one word is because they want to be violent. So let me go back. I'm going to pull this up. Hypocrisy besides hate towards Trent. Would you like me to destroy your argument? Do you want me to completely destroy this argument? Because I can if you want me to. I don't know if you want... Go ahead. Rape is also a popular category. So, like, what does that mean? Don't forget incest. Well, we'll talk about rape. I think rape's the easy one, right? Among other fucked up categories? Yeah, but let's just talk about one, right? So we don't need to get too off topic on this, too confused. Is he Polish parliament member? No, I didn't see anything about that at all. I have no idea. Fair enough, but one is clearly illegal. Why are you using the law in order to determine whether something's good or not? Don't you think making a kid trans should be illegal? I mean, like, just because something's against, like, this is, oh my God. Okay, we're gonna move on. And, yeah, there it is. Because one's illegal. I mean, yeah, that's illegal. Just because people get sexual gratification out of something doesn't necessarily mean that they like it in a general sense. That's obviously very different. And the morality is what you're appealing. People never accept loss. I mean, again, I think that for most people, the law is morality. So anyway, this is what you call a genocide. Gentlemen, 26, evil socialist, trans, polyamorous, two partners, Pokemon and wrestling fan, professional rage baiter, started HRT, I guess 2 months ago. Wow. Wow. Ain't that something? That's something special. And mental illness, again, it's a genocide. So whenever your violent Terry groups are getting broken up by the government because you're talking about killing, like, who you want to kill for not agreeing with your gender identity, this is what you call a genocide. Yeah, I would call it a genocide too. And they're the ones that are trying to do it. They're the ones that are trying to, by threat of force, make everybody agree with their gender ideology. That's it. And so anyway, group thinking is bad. Yeah, why do I think it's a genocide? They think all trans people are violent. I think that they just, and genocide is the new word that has been devalued. So we've gone from, like, at the beginning it was sexist got devalued, then racist has been devalued, now Nazi has been devalued, fascist is devalued, now we're working on pedophile being devalued, and now we're starting genocide that is beginning the devalued trend. These people see the plight of the Palestinians, the Gazans that are being killed by, both Hamas and also Israel. And they think that, well, how can I ride on their coattails? And again, like, the Gazan people, like, even if you are pro-Israel or anything else, or you're pro-West, it's sad to see these people that are being killed, and they're being oppressed by a horrible government of terrorist freaks, and they're being bombed by Israel, and they're basically just getting hit from both sides. It's horrible to think what's happened to them. Now, you can say that it is or isn't a genocide, I have no idea, but at the end of the day, these people are trying to water down the term of genocide so they can create a narrative to allow them to effectively steal that same type of moral authority. That's the reason why they're doing it. So they want pedo devalued because in Democrats they want it legal. Well, I think they're just doing it because they think it works, right? I mean, I don't think that's the actual reason. You don't think Israelis think that, do you? You don't think Israelis? I don't know what Israelis think, and I don't give a shit. I don't live in Israel, right? I mean, like, I think that there are a lot of Israelis that don't want to see random people in Gaza get killed. I'm sure, like, Israel is not a monolith. It's the same as Iran or Saudi Arabia. There are oppositional parties to Benjamin Netanyahu that are in Israel right now. There's not like a monolithic type of thought that's in Israel. Like, this is, again, it's a fan. I don't know who told you that. It's not even true. So a lot of Israelis want to live in peace. Most people want to live in peace. That's overwhelmingly where people want to live in peace. And so, yes, it's not. They're committing a 3-star genocide. They want Sharia law globally. So, yeah, I don't know about the details, right? I don't want to get into that. So, yes, Trump is actually arresting Hassan Piker. That's obviously not what's going to happen. But don't you dare call them Nazis. That's right. That's right. The moment that you go after violent terrorist groups, you get called a Nazi. That's amazing. Did you imagine his reaction? Yeah, there you go. Another wow word. Yep, there it is. Another devalued term. And you have also, by the way, look at this. well, this person blocked me, but they also make it so it's a protected post. So nobody can even respond to them at all. At this point, radically pro-transgender. Radically pro-transgender. So you forgot the word that was before that. You know, the one violent, right? Like the violent word. No, but let's not talk about that because it's harder for me to craft a victim narrative whenever I include that word also. So that's really what it is. That's because we don't see their POV on violence. Well, yeah, it's because they use violence to achieve political goals, and they want to have a monopoly on doing that. 4 years ago, this post would have gotten you erased from the entire internet, banned from the entire banking system, fired from your job, and blackballed from future employment in the Fortune 500. So what's the post? Last week, the United States refused to participate in the UN's review of the Global Compact on Migration. The United States objects to the Global Compact on Migration and UN efforts to facilitate replacement migration to the United States and our Western allies. Man. Based, exactly. And again, facilitate mass migration into America and Europe, even as citizens of the nations called for restrictions on migration. Now the Global Compact's latest report urges nations to expand migration pathways and pursue regularization of migrants. So these people in the UN that are doing this stuff, you need to hold them accountable. They need to be held accountable. There has to be something that's done to them. I think that eventually that will happen. But something needs to happen. This level of a large-scale international cultural betrayal, I don't know. But, you know, I hear we have international courts. I hear a lot about international courts. Maybe we should use them. Maybe we should use them a little bit. I think that's a good idea. Crimes against humanity, I think that could be a good start. UN agencies working for the NGOs they fund established a migration corridor through Central America and into the U.S. border. As the American people suffered under an unprecedented wave of mass migration, the UN was on the ground pipelining migrants to our southern border. UN officials greeted migrants along the route through the deadly Darien Gap. UN-funded NGOs handed out maps to migrants en route to the U.S. After facilitating mass migration to the United States, UN agencies condemned the deportations of illegal aliens. As Europe sustained migratory pressure, UN officials staffed all ends of the Mediterranean migration route from the coast of Libya to the shores of the Aegean and the islands of Greece. The UN agencies condemned frontline states who refused to open their borders. Bro, Stephen Miller had to have written this, right? Like, this had to be Stephen Miller. Damn, bro. Like, this is good. I like this. This is, yeah, and this is the official Department of State. The UN thinks it's the world's government. Yeah, well, it's, are we declaring war on the UN for facilitating the invasion? Well, fundamentally, the people in the UN are citizens of certain countries. And I think that we should, like, if you know, what would I want to do? I think that the countries in Europe, after they're able to retake control from these, you know, race communists, I think they should have international Nuremberg trials for these people that have been facilitating this. And I think every action, every version of punishment should be on the table for it. I do. Because what they've really done is they've facilitated a cultural genocide. They've facilitated thousands of rapes, murders, and just general chaos in these different countries. And they've done so with the, you know, under the guise of morality. They've done this as if they're good people. I don't think you can let that happen. You can't, and the thing is that, like, you have to set an example. You should obviously stop that treason. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I would do that for sure. Yeah, it's Western destabilization. Exactly. Economic harm. Yeah, they've caused so much harm. You can't allow people to have this, to harm a society and harm Western society this much without holding them accountable. You have to hold people like this accountable, because if you don't do that, then you're going to have more people that are going to do it again later, even if they lose power. You have to do something that's so that's so substantial that other people in the future are afraid to follow it. Like, that's why we had the Nuremberg trials for the Nazis. That's the whole reason why. Is that, like, I mean, again, this is all like, I don't know what happened with this. Do you think the U.S. will be the last bastion? No, I think it'll be places in Eastern Europe. I think Eastern Europe isn't really affected by the same type of brain rot. So, and I hear Russia has problems with it too, but like there's definitely, you know, like not anymore, but like, you know, the proverbial Iron Curtain. So like it's kind of hard to really get accurate information out of Russia. Let me open that up. I'll look at this. Each dot represents 100 migrants. This has 50 million views. Oh my God, that's a lot. Oh my. What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh my God, that's insane. It's a swarm, yes, on just this tiny little area. I know, didn't we watch this? No, we watched it for another place. They've shown multiple videos of this. One of them, the one that we saw, I think, was of America. And so this is just another indication of it happening in the European Union. So this is a little bit different. It's a Zerg rush? Yeah, I guess so, and it worked, right? 12 million illegal immigrants. I bet it's probably more. And while the UK faced unprecedented illegal boat crossings, the UN agency condemned plans for deportations. UN officials lobbied aviation regulators to prevent the deportation of migrants, an appalling violation of the UK's national sovereignty. The United States will not legitimize global compacts that enable mass migration into America or Western nations. Under President Trump, the State Department will facilitate remigration, not replacement migration. And Mark's completely right about this, by the way. 4 years ago, this post would have gotten you banned. Yes, exactly. It's crazy how much progress that we've made in only 4 or 5 years. Like, think about in the peak of 2020, COVID hysteria, and then think about where we're at now. Thank Elon for buying Twitter. I think Elon buying Twitter was the timeline-altering moment. I do. I think that was it. The moral is healing. We need more progress. I do. I think we need a lot more progress, too. We definitely do. But this is good to see happen. I'm very happy to see this. Not anymore. Yeah, because of you. Thanks, man. And, yeah, there it is. 11 years ago, it would have been common sense. Bernie Sanders would have agreed with it. Yep, there it is. So not altering, correcting. Yeah, exactly. And I think that also, like, there's a long road to go down, right? There's a lot more to have happen. But yeah, what is this here? Went nuclear. Oh, is this it?
As the Western Alliance, right? What is it? And it's not just me saying, you go to these NATO meetings, you meet with people, what they will tell you is our shared history, our shared legacy, our shared values, our shared priorities. That's what they talk about as the reason for this alliance. Well, if you erase your shared history, your shared culture, your shared ideology, your shared priorities, your shared principles, then you just have a straight-up defense agreement. That's all you have. So what I'm trying to point to, and what we've tried to point to, is very simple. That is, at the bedrock and at the cornerstone of our relationship, with example, with Europe, is the fact that we do have a shared culture, a shared civilization, a shared experience, and shared values and principles on things like human rights, on freedom, on liberty, on democracy, on all sorts of on the rights of the individual, on all these sorts of things that we in this nation are the inheritors of in many cases.
True.
Because many of these ideas that led to the founding of our country found their genesis in some of these.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Places in the Western Alliance. If you take that away, if that's wiped out because for whatever reason it's no longer a priority, I do think it puts.
I'm also really glad, like, there are some Americans that, like, have I guess, like, maybe an ego thing of, like, people not wanting to admit this. But the real truth is that America came from Europe. We did. Like a lot of like like all the founding fathers were from Europe. Like Europe is the, basically progenitor of America. So there is like a lot of our ideals, our values, and everything are shared with Europe. And this is Britain, I would say Germany, France, like Spain, like maybe Portugal. I don't really know. So overwhelmingly, like these countries, our like this is our ancestry. Denmark, yeah, Scandinavia, Italy. Italy's a big one. I didn't think of that. Yes, Dutch,
and threatens the alliance in the long term and in the big picture. Now, whatever internal politics causes people to dispute this, I'm not going to comment on, other than to tell you that I do think that at the core of these special relationships we have is the fact that we have shared history, shared values, shared civilizational principles that we should be unapologetic about. This is a nation that was founded on Western principles, founded on Western principles like liberty, the value of and the right of
Western principles, Western culture, Roman law, Greek philosophy, Christian morality. It's that simple.
The individual, the right of self-governance. These are all Western values. Now, others may have adopted it in different parts of the world, but they emanate from Western history. And it's something that we should be unapologetic about. Why would we be apologetic about it? Anyone who doesn't recognize, for example, that many of the features of our system of government find their root in Roman and Greek history is...
That's my guy, bro. There it is. So true. So true. Yep.
Is a fool. Is a fool. It's just not true.
Yeah.
And so I think that we need to understand and embrace that.
It's not like he's smart or watching me or I'm smart and I already pre-watched this. It's fucking obvious. Duh. It's 2 + 2 is 4. You don't need to copy somebody's work to know that. Of course.
Not negate it. And I think that's what we're pointing to here is that we are concerned that particularly in parts of Western Europe, those things that underpin our alliance and our tie to them could be under threat in the long term. And by the way, there are leaders in those countries that recognize that as well. Some say it openly, some say it privately. In the eastern and southern part of Europe, they're much more open about it. Nonetheless, it is a factor
that's exactly what I said.
That needs to be addressed.
Man, I'm really happy to see this. This is great. This is good. And what do you think? Vikings were feared? And yeah, I guess so. I don't think you saw Trump hinting for the first time at potential Rubio ticket. Wait, really? Well, what is this? Real quick, Mudahar is a performative gamer. Man, Windwalker is great. Wait. The guy wants to play Wind Waker on his Steam Deck, and he's getting shit on. Why? What the fuck? Like, he just wanted to play Wind Waker. What's the problem with that? Leave him alone. Come on. I'm not a Mudahar fan, but no hate. I like him. I think he's great. I love Mudahar. I've made videos about him multiple times. I've watched his content multiple times. I think he's great. The people are full of shit. Trump just took 2028 poll in the White House Rose Garden, asking the crowd who they like between JD and Marco Rubio with Vance in attendance. Oh my God.
A lot of beauties out there, JD. I envy you and other people. I don't know. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be JD? Is it going to be somebody else? I don't know. Does anybody have... Okay, let's go. You ready? Who likes JD Vance? Who likes Marco Rubio? All right. Sounds like a good ticket. JD that was a perfect ticket. By the way, I do believe that's a dream team, but these are minor details.
He's right, by the way. He's completely right. Yeah, if they run together, oh my God. Like, that's gonna be it, bro. Like, I don't even know if we're gonna need a primary. I feel like that's just it. Like, maybe we gotta figure out, maybe there's somebody else we don't know about that's gonna be even better. But right now, those are the two guys I'm about. Right, there is. And for sure, I'd be very happy about it. And DeSantis, maybe. And yeah, I guess he's going to be retiring soon, right? The next 15 years. Imagine that, dude. Imagine, that'd be fucking crazy. What they need to do too, like, so one thing that I think Trump has done a really good job at, I talked about this before, is that he's done a really good job at nurturing talent inside of his administration that can continue carrying things forward. This is something that the Democrats haven't done at all. And you've had guys come out that are like really charismatic and great speakers and great politicians like Zoran, right? I mean, like you might dislike him, like Obama. You might dislike Obama, but you have to recognize that he has a tremendous talent for communication and for, you know, politics in general. I think Zoran's the same thing. And, you know, again, like, great. Yeah, I think so. But like, they're not. And I think that these people succeed and they rise up despite the in spite of the Democratic Party. They don't enable these people. They try to actively hold them down. And I think they're probably right for doing so, because I think that, again, like, he's just trying to bring political Islam into America. I don't like that. But, you know, at the same time, there are a lot of people that feel that way. And the Democrat Party doesn't have any sort of new young people that appeal to the average voter. The only young people inside the Democrat Party are people that probably would be in Hamas. Like, they're people that probably would join Hamas or make excuses for terrorism. Like, that's really what it is.